Hello everybody, I am thirteene and I'm back with an old deck that doesn't quite keep up the current meta. So today I'm going to be playing Eternal Command. So again, mild history. So we have Eternal Command here. This is from 2012, this is from 2016. There are a couple of new versions, but they're kind of just people tinkering around with them. This is 2017 in response to Tron kind of taking over 2016, 2016. This deck was quite popular in 2012 and made a little bit of a resurgence in 2016, but I never updated the image for Iscanta. But this deck is 4-drop tribal. So what we're trying to do with this deck is essentially be blue Jund. We're going to try to 2-for-1 every opportunity that we get. And the primary combo that we're trying to abuse here is Cryptic Command with Eternal Witness. So, Cryptic Command, very powerful magic card. At its best, it deals with two things you currently care about. At its worst, it's pretty much counter target spell draw a card for 4 mana. The 3 blue makes it kind of hard to cast, but whatever. So what this deck's combo though is you Cryptic Command, and you typically are going to counterbalance your Eternal Witness. Then you're going to use Aether Vial to put Eternal Witness into play to pick up the Cryptic Command from your graveyard, and then you're still holding Cryptic Command. So 4 mana, and you can continuously recycle this. If you leave your vials on 3, this will work for a very long time. If you get up to 7 mana, same concept without the vial. Not nearly as good, but that's where you're at. And then we also get a little bit of creature utility with Snapcaster Mage. Same concept. We can Snapcaster Cryptic, pick up Snapcaster, recast something from our graveyard. Basically, we want to multicast spells, and the entire reason that I even started running this deck was because I really wanted to play 8 copies of Mystic Snake. And Mystic Snake is, like, kind of going back to the deck list, we're basically trying to abuse 4-drops, picking up creatures, flashing in creatures without mana. But yeah, I wanted to run 8 copies of Mystic Snake, and unfortunately with the number of 4-drops that we have, we're currently at 3 of the Mystic Snake and 3 of the Lizard Wizard. But then what this deck is also trying to do is turn to Termagoyf, just a really good blocker, also pretty good beater. While you're sitting there holding up Cryptic Command, you can be swinging in with hopefully a 4/5, 5/6 Goyf. We have Remand to try to get to turn 4. Also, right now, Remand seems pretty good with all the Faithful Looting flashbacks and potentially like getting a Manamorphose right before Phoenix goes off. I've been a fan of it lately. And then Jace the Mind Sculptor, -1, pick up Snapcaster, -1, pick up Ewit, alternate win condition, way to get card advantage. Jace is just really powerful, and we are 4-drop stot deck. So, yeah. Alright, that's the deck. Gonna go ahead and pop into our league here. And we have Aether Vial, Ewit, Frilled Mystic, Dismember. We're going to be taking a lot of pain from our mana base, but we have some interaction. We have a couple of the cards that we care about. I'd prefer to see at least 3 lands here. We're running 22 lands. It's a little bit on the light side, but Eternal Witness can pick up our Polluted Delta. And it's a good thing we kept a lot of cards, because that's going to be quite painful if they start discarding us. Alright, so we care more about blue. We have plenty of shocks, dual sources. So just going to get an island here, keep our life total high against the potentially mid-range deck. And see what's going to happen. The Lizard Wizard, counter spell. Bitter Blossom is a little awkward. Alright, V-Click is pretty good. So I'm not expecting to dismember this turn, so basically just gonna save some life. This is likely going to be multiple shocks, especially if we have to Ewit it. V-Click is horrible in this matchup. There's Lily. V-Click feels like an awesome pitch here. Alright, and I'd love a Goyf here. That's fine. I'll hit our land drops. So, Ewit, Pick up our polluted delta. Love to pick it up. Ship it back. Hopefully Lily minus is here. Ewit pick up Ewit would be fantastic. Yep, you got us, opponent. Likely taking an Ewit here. Dismember's not great. Although if they take Dismember, they can attack. Dismember's probably going to deal more damage to us than the fairy will end up doing. Collective Brutality? Alright. I'm not very excited about any of this. I think we're more likely to redraw a land. Although we are a 4-drop deck. Basically, any 4-drop off the top is going to be good here. But it has 0 cards in hand, so nothing to really hold up to counter. And there's a Mystic Snake. So what's high value here? If I end up attacking in and they block with a fairy, that's fine. They got half of an Eternal Witness for a single token off of Bitter Blossom. They're going to probably try to plus Lily, which means I'll be flashing in Mystic Snake. If they attack in with both creatures, that means that I'll be able to hit Lily for 2, stop her from ulting for a turn. Mystic Snake's also going to basically make sure that their Bitter Blossom's just damaging them every turn. I think we're on defense for a turn. Hope that they plus Lily, flash in Mystic Snake, and then get a free hit in. Good read from opponent is attack in with only 1 fairy. I actually should have countered that. I wasn't thinking. Doesn't matter, though. With a single landfall drop, it'd be coming back, so... Now they're going to have to keep 2 fairies back for blocking. We have a couple of decent draws. Opponent nuking our board here actually isn't very impactful because we're likely going to keep our Aether Vials. Or at least one of them. 4 and 3 feels fine. Okay, and so what we want to do here is tap down the team, hit Lily for 4, and draw a card. Then they'll replay Lily, make us discard, but hopefully we'll have a creature. Alternatively, I can bounce Bitter Blossom, tap team. I think I want to draw a card. We have plenty of creatures that I'd love to draw into, although Lily will just make us discard them. I'm on draw. Just feels like highest upside here. Hitting a land drop is fine. Attack with all creatures at Lily. So funny enough, right now Snapcaster is likely our worst draw. I guess we can Snapcaster Dismember, but looks like they drew another Lily. Alright, and now we're going to always note these vials. Jace the Mind Sculptor. Alright, so Mystic Snake can block Bloodghast. I can bounce a fairy token. I can just Brainstorm. I think I'm on blocking duty and Brainstorm. It's going to be highest upside again. We're going to see a couple of cards. Like Goyfir's pretty good. Hinterland Harbor Goyf, Mystic Snake for their next counter spell seems great. We can draw the Goyf for a permanent blocker. And Mystic Snake staying on defense, it doesn't telegraph that we have something to put off of the Vial as nearly as well. Plus, I'm kind of okay to make this trade at the given moment. That's fine. Mystic Snake comes in. Counter Lily. If they're smart, they're going to kill Jace here. We'll get our Goyf. Yeah, you got to get in with this. It can't block. Yep, seems about right. So unfortunately, we know our next two draws. It's going to be Goyf into Hinterland Harbor. And we're currently losing the race. I actually think we're just dead on board. So Goyf's currently a 5/6. They attack in with 4, 5. Next turn they attack in with 5. Yeah, we're just dead. No point in waiting it out. Alright, so Bitter Blossom. Kind of painful here. Glenolindra can counter their Planeswalkers. I believe that this list ends up running Sorin and potentially... I'm blanking on it. What's the other Planeswalker? Sorin and Gideon. So half of this card being able to bounce is great. Also another card that we can end up picking up after we get value out of it. So we'll reset the counters. Ravenous Trap would be in here for Lingering Souls. It's not good enough. This should probably be Surgical, but Surgical being $55 online right now is not worth picking up. Pithy Needle for the Planeswalkers seems great. Echoing Truth for all the tokens with the same name seems great. As far as cuts, I can see Trimming, part of our Lizard Wizard and Snake combo. V-Click is just horrendous in this matchup. Dismember can snag a Gideon, but that's about it. Spell Pierce, I think I'd rather be able to kill Gideon. Spell Pierce can get early creatures. Plus we're on the play. Yeah, this seems fine. Not overly ideal. We only have a couple of pieces for this, but it is a little bit more of a fringe matchup. Alright, and then this has a turn 1 Vial, turn 2 Search, and Spell Pierce for the Planeswalkers. I like it. And we only have... Let's actually see. Yeah, so Frilled Mystic is the only thing that cares about double green, so this is just going to get a island for us. It's kind of weird running a creature counterspell deck, but that's what we decided to run with today. And then hopefully Search will allow us to hit a couple of land drops here. This deck is a very slow start. Alright. What have we got here? Breeding Pool we'll hang on to. Tick up the Vial. So we're not going to do anything with Breeding Pool here. Just going to run it out tapped. And then hopefully just Spell Pierce whatever opponent's up to. Opponent didn't crack their fetch, so they might be looking for lands. Oh yeah, Lily. Eat that Spell Pierce. You know you want it. Yeah, that felt good. That felt really good. I love Spell Pierce. Goyf. Goyf, 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 Goyf. Yeah, we can put Goyf in the graveyard. We can E-Whip, pick up our land. E-Whip main phase just to make sure we hit our land drop. and ship it on over to opponent, see what they can do. There could have been an argument to just wait a turn and try to pick up the Spell Pierce and grab the second Lily, but that just doesn't feel worth it. Blood Gas is fine. When you're hard casting Blood Gas, your deck isn't doing what you want it to do. Alright. So Goyf is a really strong finisher here, but I think we're on Jace. So I'm okay to get another card into the graveyard. And I do want to go up to 4, I believe. So we ended up trimming a Frilled Mystic and a Mystic Snake. So we have 4 things there. Okay, no, that means we want to keep it on 3. So that if we get a Cryptic, we can bounce the Eternal Witness and pick it back up. Then I actually want to brainstorm here. Yeah, we can put away 2 things we don't care about, shuffle them away. We'll get an island just so that we can Spell Pierce if need be. We can flash in Ewit and then Spell Pierce, and this Ewit's going to be on defense for now. Because this is also a combo. We're going to be able to just block with Ewit and then pick it up. What you doing, opponent? Gideon? I don't believe so. Alright, so we will Ewit pick up Spell Pierce. Spell Pierce Gideon. And this is what this deck is trying to do. Yeah, I believe we're at a point we don't care about Forest. We'd love to transform. And no, we still want to be at 3 drops. Well, we'll find another Forest. So let's draw 3. There's our Cryptic command. We can tuck back these 2. We can get our beats in while the beats are fresh. Blood Gas can't block, so that's just free. Mr. Goyf comes down, does the Goyfy things. Then if opponent does something, we have a counter with pick up and counter again. If they don't, we get a Escanta, and we're in a very commanding position. So I really don't care about that. The worst part is going to be that they can attack Jace, but that doesn't seem high enough value. Goyf is also a clock. Yeah, I think that's fine, because we're going to Ewit and pick Goyf back up. As long as it's not a path, we're good. Alright, opponent, what are you squatting on? Shambling Vents? That's fine. We're going to tap your team and return target permanent. Tap the team. So I did actually put myself in a weak spot here. If they end up killing this Ewit, then it counters Cryptic. Yep, as expected. But they had to tap the Shambling Vents, so that's fine. Jace is still going to live. The reason that'd be countered is because... Let's pull this up really quick. It says tap all creatures your opponents control, and I was returning target permanent. The spell only had one target, so by removing that target, it ended up... Oh boy. Alright, so I think we still have a land on top of our deck. Let's go ahead and brainstorm. We can put back Jace and Echoing Truth. Then we still have 4 mana up for the Frilled Mystic. Sorry, so coming back to this, if a spell only has one target and the target is removed, the spell gets countered. Tapping all creatures your opponents control, you're not targeting your opponent. It has the same clause with like return and draw a card. Yeah, whatever, that's fine. We'll still be able to activate Iskanta, and we have a Jace on top, which means we'll just pick up the Jace that we put on top of our deck and get rid of the Echoing Truth. Otherwise, if they try to do something with 2 mana that we care about, we can just Frilled Mystic, naturally draw the Jace. And I don't particularly care about that, so go ahead and let that resolve. Let our opponent get some F6 value. Activate the Iskanta. We'll grab Jace. And now I do want to tick it up, now that I have a couple of 4-drops sitting in my hand that I actually care about. And they'll have 2 attackers. All of them will have 2 power. I can chump block with Glenalindra. I'm on Brainstorm. Opponent clearly has nothing great in hand, so I'm good to keep a couple of good things around. And we'll put these 2 back, but I want to see Mystic Snake first. Depending on how hard they commit in at Jace, we have a couple of different options here. Yep, there's Shambles. And this time I'm just going to draw. I think that they're sitting on a decent amount of removal, so may as well just time walk them. It's really unfortunate I've been having to leave this Glenalindra back. Would have been super nice if we still had that Goyf. Smallpox. Well, I'm not going to discard one of these, and 3 power is a significantly faster clock, so we'll go ahead and counter Smallpox. We have opponent on a 4-turn clock. This one's always going to be no. And Echoing Truth is actually kind of becoming decent here. So, Mystic Snake, Echoing Truth. Get some beats in. Ewit, pick up Cryptic. And this should be a concession. Opponent probably won't concede, but it should be. There might have been an argument there to get Goyf just to speed up our clock, but we have plenty going on. Cryptic Command tells our opponent that we have multiple play. Yeah, like we can just bounce Ewit, continue going. The attrition grind was on. Alright, I don't think I saw anything I actually care about from opponent's side. Dispel can get rid of a removal spell, but almost all of our creatures are 2-for-1s. Opponent's likely bringing in Rip now. I don't think that changes anything from our side. We can still Cryptic Rip, we can still Frilled Mystic Rip, we can still play a fair game with Goyf. We have a lot of options. Stony Silence might be a little cute from our opponent, but if opponent's boarding in Stony Silence for our Aether Vials, I'm perfectly okay with that. One of these old builds, I think it might have been this one, was running Thirst for Knowledge, so that you could draw 3 cards and then pitch your extra Aether Vials. Just a good way of card advantage, but since 2006 and 2012, we've gotten Jace unbanned, and Jace just feels like a significantly stronger play. We have mana, Aether Vials, Echoing Truths. I'm good with all this. Opponent's probably going to have Inquisition / Thoughtseize here. Another reason I don't want to mulligan in this matchup. Yep, so probably goodbye Aether Vial, possibly Ewit. The one of Glenalindra keeps showing up. But being able to counter 2 spells and be able to pick it up in the middle just seems so good. Yep, there goes Ewit. Alright, so opponent doesn't know about the breeding pool. Flagstones is really good in Pox because they get a sacrifice and go get a replacement land, but it's super awkward when trying to cast it. Snapcaster's a little cute. Alright, well, they don't know about Breeding Pool or Snappy, so leave up Echoing Truth, despite the fact I don't think it really matters a ton. Kaya? Okay. Do I care? I don't think I care because Snapcaster's going to come in and kill Kaya. Alright, well, we have 3 blue sources in hand. Alright, so opponent doesn't know about these 2. Let's go ahead and kill Kaya first, get that out of the way. Yeah, trading Kaya for my Vial doesn't seem great for opponent, but we're just going to try to play a fair game and see what happens. I can't imagine they left in Wrath of Gods and Damnations. It's possible, but yeah, that's fine. Snappy's going to stay back. I don't mind having a smallpox target. And then Echoing Truth can save Goy from removal. Ooh, boy. Well, opponent's been light on black. So I think opponent gets choice of anything that they want here. It's probably going to have to be Snapcaster. Although I could see an argument for Glenalindra. Opponent even had the Mythic Edition Kaya. Interesting. So they thought Glenalindra was more of a threat? What I actually probably would have done was I would have taken the Echoing Truth and when I went to go crack the Mystia in step, would have tried to kill the Goyf, but that might mean that they don't have a kill spell. Opponent correctly did not flash back Lingering Souls because of the Echoing Truth, though. So it's going to buy some time, but I think our 2-for-1s are going to be better than their value cards. We'll see. All right, so I'm considering a risky play of bouncing their flagstones. So Smallpox is going to make them sack a land, discard a card, and they're going to sack this land and go get a replacement for it. So I'm a little inclined to Cryptic bounce this if they have to sack a real land. I don't really think that does anything unless they're trying to play 6 mana Sorin, and Smallpox and 6 mana Sorin don't get along very well. I think I just have to let this resolve. This is why I kept my Snapcaster around, though. We can go ahead and discard. Oh boy, I guess Echoing Truth. Sack Snappy Boy, and sure, Basic Island. They didn't float mana, so I wasn't overly concerned with them making a 3-drop here, but... Alright, and they don't have a path for Goyf. Yeah, I might have just needed to sack or counter that Smallpox. Because we do not have much going on if opponent kills our Goyf. Are they thinking of attacking with Shambling Vent? Oh, great. Well, opponent's out of action here, so we have them on a 2-turn clock. They're relying on a top deck. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. That's fine though. We actually haven't seen very many of our lands. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of 22. It's about 3.5. Yeah, opponent, like, that's... don't care a ton. So what I'm hoping for in my immediate future is a land for Ewit. Ewit pick up a land, hold up Cryptic Command. In the meantime, I'll still just take their Lingering Souls tokens out one by one. Ewit's also going to make it so that Smallpox won't hit my Goyf. Glare Goyf of Champions. And yeah, I think I'm just on island. Misty's gonna hurt my life total. I need to have a blue for Cryptic. There could have been something cute there with chaining Ewits, but having Cryptic Command next turn is basically gonna lock me into win it. Alright, opponent. So I'm guessing you drew the land for turn and you're holding on to something. What could you have for 5 mana that you actually care about? Alright, so that's looking like it might be Smallpox. The read I'm getting is they wanted to activate Shambling Vent. Okay, Copter's fine. It looked like they wanted to activate Shambling Event, attack in. Hopefully I'd block with Ewit, and then they would smallpox away my Goyf, but this is going to cost 3. That's going to be tapped already. I think that just means we won, because we're going to hit for 7. And then we're holding Cryptic. What'd you draw, opponent? Gideon? That looks like a fantastic counter draw. And Cryptic Command is a very good magic card. Yep, that's the game. Alright, started off with a pretty strong 2-1. I did flag this deck as competitive. We end up having a lot of very powerful cards, like we have Ancestral Visions, Aether Vials, Goyfs, Cryptic Commands, Jace, Fetch Land Shocks. We are running check lands because we do want to hit 4 mana, so being able to make a 4-drop is quite important, which is why we don't have any fast lands or anything along those lines. Some builds of the old Eternal Commands are running Lightning Bolt. Lightning Bolt is a very strong magic card, and being able to pick it up with Ewit and recast it with Snapcaster is great, but I kind of wanted the Mystics. I mean, look at that lizard wizard. Who doesn't need a little elf wizard in their life? All right. Surgicals in the side would have been fantastic, but ended up doing a little bit budget Ravenous Trap. Didn't really come up last game. I probably would have brought it in for Lingering Souls last game. Also being able to hit something like a Liliana is quite strong. Alright, so this is looking like a control hand. I'd love a 3rd land, probably over this Frilled Mystic. But this is going to give us our turn 2 Search for Azcanta, and we're on the draw, so we'll hopefully get up to 4 lands sometime soon. Ooh boy, so Merfolk, Spirits. Would have loved to have Spell Pierced that. There's the land I wanted. Of note, counterspells are super awkward versus Aether Vials. On the plus side, though, we end up getting bounce spells. Still Merfolk or Spirits, potentially Humans. I know Humans was putting a basic island in for Field of Ruin and Assassin's Trophies. I think they had an island and a Plains. Alright, so if this is another Merfolk player playing Blood Moon, I would be super sad, but I don't feel like you run into that every day. We'll see if they have Spell Pierce. If it's Merfolk, they have a lot more counter spells. Guess not. If they're on Deprived, they'd need 2 blue for it. Rattle Chains. Alright, it's Spirits. Which means this is going to be awkward for us. We don't have a ton of flyers. Cryptic is kind of just like a weird fog spell in our deck. Spell Pierce won't get any action unless they're on the Coco build, which I haven't seen any green in the fast line. Typically means no Coco. They have mana up for Drogskull Captain. They don't have a Mausoleum Wanderer, though, which is good for control lists. Basically, what we need to do next turn, though, is get out this Goyf and try to start racing and hopefully buy a turn with Cryptic Commands. Still not ideal, though. So Goyf, Spell, Pierce, next turn, Cryptic, Frilled Mystic, or Goyf and something else. I think we have to bin the Goyf. Try to look for something of a little higher value. We don't even have a real counterspell up here, so if this is a Drog School Captain with a Supreme Phantom, like, it's not even super worth talking about. Just a Spell Queller? Yep. Alright, if they flash in a Supreme Phantom, we're probably just going to call it here. There's no point to show them any more of our deck. Not being in white, black, or red means that our board clears are insanely weak. And like, we have 3 counterspells in hand, but they have a Vial. Alright, Rattle Chins means I won't just scoop it up, but still not looking great. The plus side, opponent is down to 2 cards in hand, but we're also taking 8 on the table. Probably 12, assuming they activate this Vial. This did shorten the clock to be 2 turns instead of 1, but basically if Cryptic Command doesn't resolve here, like, there's no point in talking about it. Plus, we're going to have to shock this breeding pool anyway. We can go ahead and bin that. Draw Snapcaster. That's a small sign of hope. Although, Cryptic into... Yeah, so we're going to have to draw a Cryptic and a land off of our draw for turn and land for turn and have them not be on another Spell Queller. Alright, so unfortunately this flat... Actually, that doesn't matter. So let's go ahead and tap and draw. So if we try to target the Spell Queller, we're going to run into the same problem we did in Game 1, where if they just give this Hexproof with a Drug School Captain or something, it'll counter our Cryptic Command. The goal here is to stay alive. Okay, well, that kind of works. We need a land, and that can be achieved by flipping Surge. So, well, that works. I can have Spell Pierce, they don't have Coco. Alright, if this Cryptic resolves, we have a very small chance. Because we'll be able to flip Search and have Snapcaster Cryptic up. Okay, so... Unfortunately, I don't want to take these Mutavault beats. I'd prefer, since they don't have any Spell Quellers, to just get my Cryptic Command out for now, but they could attack in with Mutavault. If I try to bounce it, they could just animate it and give it Hexproof. Very much on the losing side of this, though. Trying to chain together hope. Tap and draw. Another Snapcaster means another turn. I don't really want to show the Mystic Snake, but what am I trying to draw to here? So, Jace doesn't really accomplish anything. V-Click doesn't really accomplish anything. I think I want an Ewit. Alright, you get to see Mystic Snake. Remand isn't bad. Remand will actually help us against Spell Queller for a turn. No, it won't, because Spell Queller's coming in off of Aether Vial. Spirits is a very hard deck to play against with rogue decks. We just have so many good cards. If I could get that Goif back, we'd have a clock. Yep, activate the Mutavault. Snapcaster! Opponent, just show me a Spell Queller so we can move on with our life. Alright, I guess we're alive for another turn. Alright, so this is going to be tap draw. And there's a Supreme Phantom to block with. Alright. I still have a couple more turns, not a lot. Can't even attack in now because of the Supreme Phantom. It's possible I should have tried to bounce this Aether Vial a couple of turns ago. But they have flash off of all their creatures anyway, but it would allow me to actually get some counter magic in. But we're running out of cryptics here, so... running out of time. I think I have to go for the bounce now. If they end up having Drog Skull... Okay. Please cast it. Please cast it. Please cast... Okay. That's fine. I have hopes and dreams again. My Goif is only a 2/3 on turn 8. Its opponent's turn 8, and it's a 2/3. I think I just have to recycle this. Jace is kind of a draw. So Jace will let me bounce a creature. So if I draw a land, I can Jace and Frilled Mystic. Or I get another Cryptic Command. Alright, that all seems fine. They have a Spell Queller, though. Right here, I'm trying to use the Snapcaster to bait out the Spell Queller because it's a free block for them. Lame. Alright. Frilled Mystic counters this. I can Ewit. I can't Cryptic. I can Ewit for Remand, but that doesn't really do anything. And it takes out my Cryptic line. Alright. And this is just looking like a lost cause. So I can Jace, they'll counter it. Depending on how they counter it, I can Ewit and pick up Remand. Remand would just put it back into hand. They'd Aether Violet it in. Yeah, this is looking horrible. Alright. Oh, did I already use my last Cryptic command? I am so bad at this game. I don't even think I have anything to fetch for. I guess I could fetch for Dismember? That wouldn't do it. This feels like one of those opportunities, though, where I want to make the opponent go for it just so that it's not like free on the table. Hopefully they'll try to misread it or not, or misinterpret my line in future games. That is one thing I know Reed Duke is really good about, is like he's always on the table and he always keeps a straight face, and like you might have him dead on table, but people are trying to read exactly what he's doing there. Sometimes I'm good to just let my opponent take it if I know that we're dead, but occasionally you have to let them actually have it. Alright, as far as what we actually care about here, I think it's just Echoing Truth. We can end up bouncing Lords, although they end up getting Hexproof. This just feels miserable. We're a turn 4 deck, and they usually have turn 3 tempo pieces, so I mean, I could try to call Aether Vial and just try to play the fair game. I could try to gain some life, but that doesn't feel great. I would have a flying blocker, but their creatures have evasion to get around my Goyf. I could bounce artifacts. It's just bad. Opponent was on the play. They had a faster start. They have a faster deck. Cryptic Command is quite powerful, but without like Wrath of God or anything along those lines, this will be kind of a tough matchup. We end up needing some kind of board clear for the creature strategies. Okay, so this has a turn 1 Ancestral, which will actually keep us in the game. If we can hit our land drops with Azcanta, we'll be able to put out some 4-drops and a V-click. This feels like as good as it's going to get. If we miss our 3rd land drop, though, we're probably just going to get overrun. Ancestral Visions, draw 3 cards, should really help us out, though. V-click, surprise blocking something also seems pretty decent. Or just trying to V-click into a land seems plausible. Alright. See if we can get there. I'd actually love to V-click to get rid of this Mausoleum Wanderer. It's incredibly awkward when we run instants and sorceries that have big effects for expensive costs to just get countered for 1. Or if they drop a Lord, countered for like 5. Yep, Volley is a thing. I'd love to hang on to that. And V-click is actually probably pointed at me now. Assuming it doesn't get spell quellered. I need to get rid of one of these Mystic Snakes. Neither of them can block Thalia, and it's one of the only ground creatures in their deck. Opponent might be trying to figure out what we're doing since we left mana up. They probably had something like a Drogskol Captain, and they were wondering if they had to hold up Spell Queller, so I don't expect this V-Click to survive. But, gonna try. Again, this feels like a horrible matchup for us. Yep, there's a Spell Queller. I dislike this card. It's very powerful. That just grows the Mausoleum Wanderer. And now we have a bunch of cards that have to sit in hand while opponent has 6 damage on the table. We're on a 2-turn clock. We have one more turn before Ancestral comes down, and we need the land. So, probably Mystic Snake is coming down at instep if they don't commit anything to board. Just gives us an additional turn by blocking. And we'll see what Ancestral gives us. Alright, Remand does absolutely nothing. Goyf is a moderate-sized blocker. We will be taking 3 in the air. So I can Goyf now and try to have blocks for the Thalia. I can Goyf and suspend Ancestral. Probably won't be going that long. I can hold up Frilled Mystic, but that's only going to hit a Drogskol Captain in step. I think I'm on holding Counter Magic anyway. Opponent's probably expecting us to have another 4-drop, which means we can double block Thalia if need be. And that seems like a pretty good Mystic Snake target. Elf Lizard Wizard. Go counter things for me. Cool, and they didn't have another 2-drop, so at least we're not going to have flash shenanigans going on here. It's unlikely they send Thalia in, but we're still on a 2-turn clock regardless. We're tapped out, so a Lord is a Supreme Phantom with a Mutavault attack is lethal. At least double chump block duty. Yeah, I'm basically looking for a Cryptic command, and that's about it. Go ahead and bend that. And that's a Cryptic command. But I don't think I'm getting a window to actually drop this Termagoyf, and it means that I'm also back on I need another Cryptic command. I did consider if Cyclonic Rift and Wilderness Reclamation would be good in this deck to just be able to do a one-sided board clear. But Wilderness Reclamation in a deck with 4 drops already feels a little awkward. I know it works with Sultai, but... Alright, and my sequencing here is I want to bounce the Spell Queller. If they have any interaction for it, it doesn't matter, but if I get a bounce it here, then I get V-click to block the Mausoleum Wanderer. It doesn't matter. They can just sack Mausoleum Wanderer. Yeah, and this is why I don't like playing against spirits. Like, you can't do any rogue deck shenanigans because it's so tuned to do tempo. But like, I understand the strength of having Cryptic Command with Wilderness Reclamation. It definitely works, but it feels like people are packing more hate for it because it's kind of frustrating just sitting there watching your opponent go off turn after turn after turn and not having it be deterministic and having it not really have any kind of a clock to it. Eventually when they win, they're getting like 4 Wilderness Reclamations out. Like, I know LSV just did a video where he didn't have enough mana to mill out the opponent until he had 2 cards left in his deck, and that just feels like a horrible strategy. It's also super bad to something along the lines of like Unmoored Ego and the Surgical deck that with Kaya, I know a lot of people are tinkering with, can just remove your win condition and there's nothing there. Part of the reasons I don't like playing that deck, but we don't have a ton of instant speed interaction. It's basically just the Cryptic commands. So you tap out for a Wilderness Reclamation. Without Cryptic, it doesn't do anything. But we do need some kind of board clear in this deck, so I'm not exactly sure how to feel about that. And I love this hand. We don't really have any payoffs yet, but we're going to start developing. We can at least Ewit to pick up lands, make our land drops. Basic Island. Alright, Merfolk. Another creature deck, and one that's going to have Island Walk the entire game. We look a lot like elves at this given moment. And I'd prefer to keep it that way. Alright, well, I can't really Snapcaster here anymore because of the Island Walk. I'd have to get an island to play Snapcaster to block. But we'll take our beats. I'll end up grabbing a Breeding Pool. We can Ewit for the land. A lot of creature decks running around today, though. And unfortunately, this one has counter spells. Kind of going back to, this was a 2016 deck. They basically, humans and the like with Aether Vials make playing control matchups very awkward, because Cryptic Command is basically bouncing the vial. And that's how you're interacting with opponent. Like, we do get a tap down their team as we saw in the last game, but that's not really a winning strategy. Don't have another Lord. Only get in for 2. Please. Alright, there's another Lord. So, currently on the table for 6, next turn on the table for 9. Basically, any creature next turn is going to be lethal. I guess another Lord, although they can buff this one, so we're on the table for 10. We're going to have to crack a fetch. Cryptic. Spell Pierce. Alright, well, we're dead. So, they can just Benthic Biomancer and get that. It's another reason a lot of the older decks were splashing for Bolt. Alright, Echoing Truth can hit lords, reduce the size of all their creatures. That's about it. Should probably have a little bit more in here, but what would we be running for creature interaction? Like, I think that Heaven and Earth might be green. Wow, that's a lot of cards. $25. Okay, that's not working. Earthquake. So we have Earthquake, Fire Spout would hit things with flying, Heaven hits things with flying, and Earth hits the other ones. How many cards were there? 40? Yeah, so basically everything's red. Which puts us on Return, which is like Aether Spouts, Aetherize, Cyclonic Rift. Alright, well, this is at least a starting Goyf. It's a little bit of a clock. Plus we have Remand. We can snap Remand. Opponent's on the mulligan. They keep the 6, put 1 on top. And we don't get anything like Path or Bolt in blue and green, which is why it's an underrepresented combo at the moment. Basically, any of these strategies are... Okay, well, that stops Snapcaster. Doesn't stop Ewit. Currently the 0-1 Goyf. Makes you feel like winning, doesn't it? Alright, I need something here, like, really badly. Another 0-1 Goyf won't do it. If we can figure out how to fill the graveyard, this will be fine, but I think I just need to be able to take the 2 here and remand whatever their play is. Like a Reejerey. Reejerey is kind of old tech at this point, I guess. Whenever you cast a Merfolk, you may tap or untap a permanent, and that means that you get to untap your lands for every Merfolk that you play and kind of just drop your hand. And, the defending master of the Pearl Trident. Alright, well, I'm expecting to see Reejerey again, so I'll keep Frilled Mystic around. It could be correct that I'm supposed to Goyf here and start trying to draw into Cryptics. But if they don't play anything impactful, I can Frilled Mystic. If they end up trying to just attack in with the Master, then I can Flash and Snap and block. I'll get a creature in the graveyard. But this is why we do what we do. Go Elf, Lizard, Wizard. Counter all the things for me. Oh my gosh, I have been doing so bad at updating the record. Alright, so we are currently... Zero 1 versus Merfolk, and I believe 1-2 overall. We lost to Spirits, and... Nope, we're 1-1 overall. We lost to Spirits. Then this means Goyf comes out. Mistal Goyf comes out. And he's going to get a Reejerey, but that's probably not going to be good enough at this point. There's a Silvergill revealing a Trickster, so it's good to know about that Trickster. But Goyftron. Alright, he's playing around counterspells, so that's good. Yeah, you can't get in. Okay, so this is not like a surprising line or anything, but there's currently no land into the graveyard. So if he tries to trade off these 3 X's with Goif, then I can sack the land and they'll outgrow them. So he's on double block. In paper, you have to always perfectly represent your Goif. So that's why a lot of people don't end up running the Goif dice, is because if they don't rotate it, it can technically be misrepresenting. It won't matter at F&M or anything, but it is worth noting that you're responsible for always marking Goif in paper. Where here, like, opponent's at 3, and we're going to flash in 2 more attackers. We'll see if they have Deprive. Oh, we have more creatures, so Deprive's offline. It's a creature, so Spell Pierce won't work. Alright, you need to have a Trickster to even survive here. Oh, Deprive is the return. That's fine. Do you have another Deprive? And we stole that game. Currently 1-1 versus Merfolk. And that's what our deck is supposed to do when opponents bringing in cards to hate on us, not just sit there and durdle and then pray for cryptic commands. Any changes? Dispel is interesting for the counter war because apparently they brought in all their counter magic. As far as cuts, I love getting a creature with this interaction. I could see trimming a cryptic for a Dispel just because this is 1 mana and this is 4 and they're going to have the same use in our deck. And potentially Remand? Yeah, Remand seems a little mediocre here, so maybe both Dispels can keep the cryptic. Remand is to buy us a turn to get to turn 4, and this is a matchup where opponent's going to try to get out like a 2-2 and that's it, and then try to hold up counter magic. Oh no, I'm on a 62 card special. Alright. Trim a cryptic, resubmit. Trim a Snapcaster if they're on Graveyard Hate. Where should I originally board? Yeah, Spell Pierce might be worse than Cryptic here. I actually want hard counters, and soft counters aren't going to be great. Glen Elendra's interesting too. Maybe as a better 4-drop. Super scientific. Again, this deck needs something for the go wide strategies. I think back in 2012, the entire meta was just basically Splinter Twin if you're trying to do something with creatures or affinity, which is why we end up having Hurkyl's Recall, because Hardened Scales is technically a deck still, and they get a lot of counters. This is just great at the given moment for Hardened Scales. We need something like this for normal creatures, and the closest that we get in Modern is Aether Spout / Aetherize. So Aether Spouts will put every creature that's attacking on top or bottom. Did I really not get Aetherize with that? Oh, that's a similar concept though. Just bounce everything back to hand. We would love a permanent answer like Wrath of God or Damnation, but it just really doesn't exist for these color combinations. Alright, well, we are slow. But we get an Echoing Truth of opponents going wide on a single strategy. We end up getting our early Goif. Goif will be an instant and a land just off the top. Ewit can pick up Echoing Truth or a land if we end up needing a land. Yeah. I mean, granted that feels like a fine play, but our deck really doesn't care. Like, if it comes to it, I can just Echoing Truth that and then counter it on the way back down when I actually want to start using my graveyard. And the verbiage on this is players can't cast spells from graveyards or libraries, and Ewit will return it from my graveyard to my hand, and then I cast it from my hand. So Ewit don't care, Snapcaster kind of does, but again, we can balance it. We can just not care about Snapcaster. If they're diluting their game plan to try to hate us out, we're perfectly fine with that because their explosive starts are going to be how we lose. Alright, so opponent not doing anything with Merfolk here means that they either needed double blue and they didn't have it, or they're holding up a counterspell. If they're holding up a counterspell, we just drew a second Goyf, so we're happy. Alright, it doesn't look like it was a counterspell. Yep, really don't care about the Trickster. The main phase, because they're actually concerned about getting it countered, that's cute. Alright, so funny enough, we actually get to attack in with our Goyf, and if they block with Trickster, we can just bounce the Grafdigger's Cage, get an instant into the graveyard. That also means that they did actually need the second blue here. So probably no Silver Gills in hand. They might be on counter magic. And this is, again, really good if we're trying to make 4-drops. I think I'm just going to Goyf and or Echoing Truth here, so I'm going to attack in, see if I can get an instant in the graveyard if they chump block. Otherwise, probably just going to be looking at running out a second Goyf and just getting a clock on. It could be correct that if they don't block, I'm supposed to Echoing Truth their turn 3 play and then Frilled Mystic when it comes back down, since I'm technically ahead on board here. But when you have Goyfs, you want to use them. And this is a little bit more of what our deck wants to do. We want to get out a decent-sized threat, then we want to just counter everything that comes down after it. The main phase Tricksters are a little cute, but they could probably kill a Goyf if we didn't... if they waited for us to attack with it. Alright, so it looks like they want to... I don't know what they want to do. This seems super awkward. I'd prefer not to Echoing Truth the Tricksters, but we're probably going to be able to do more damage than them. Alright, so I didn't crack that. That's my bad. Oh, well, that's fine. So I can Jace. If I actually Jace, it's going to have to give them another target, and I can keep the Ghosts on defense for a turn. I can also just bounce the Biomancer. If I bounce a Trickster, the Trickster is going to be able to kill Goyf, so I'm not a huge fan of that line. But I think getting Jace out and just starting to brainstorm feels super high value. He's going to let us get ahead on cards, and the opponent only has one card in hand. If it's a Lord, it's a Lord. I'll be able to bounce the Lord and block the Tricksters next turn if that's the case. But in the meantime, they're going to have to figure out how to attack into Jace, and we're at a pretty healthy 16. Alright, 2 lands can go back. No need to attack in with Goyfs. Goyfs also aren't going to be blocking. We're currently on the table for 5 right here. Alright. More like 8. 11. Yeah, it's Island Walk you're getting in. Oh, you're going to Jace? Makes sense. Alright, opponent has nothing going on, so we're going to Ewit. Pick up Jace. Is going to shrink our Goyce, but that's fine. Then we can Echoing Truth of the Lord and block with our Goyfs. We'll end up eating a lot of damage. Alright, playing that land was a bit of missequencing from opponent, but can't really fault them for that. They should have kept a card in hand to make it look like they had a counterspell. Wait, and the Master? That don't seem right. Bounce the Lord. They'll be able to adapt, but they're not going to get rid of a Lord, so they're just going to be 2 damage here. Gonna eat these guys for free. Eat that for free. Actually, I really don't care about their lands, and that costs mana to actually start up. I'm going to eat the Biomancer. And they didn't replay the Lord. Alright, so I'm just trying to find the value of Mutavault here. So I think I can take the 2 and counter the Lord and start getting my clock on. Which means this can come to play tapped. If they end up having 2 Lords, that means Mutavault gets in for 3. But we need to get some damage in here. Or I could Jace, we'd only take... Alternatively, Planeswalker go into the graveyard would make these 4, make it 11 damage. I am a sucker, but I'm going to play Jace. Now the question is, do I Fate Seal and make sure that they hit a land? No, we're drawing cards. It's me. I need to draw cards. Alright, Glenalendra actually doesn't do a ton, so goodbye Glenalendra, and we're going to have Cryptic up next turn. I don't really think there's a way that we die. They have a Lord in hand, which means another Lord will make this 4 damage. They just hit a land, which means that comes down, we're getting hit for 3. I get to bounce the Lord, and then I'll have Cryptic Command up, and I think that's all you can really ask for. Alright, so I'm going to run out this Misty in case I need it. I don't really think there's anything I really want to do with it, but if I crack it, it means that Mutavault can kill me. Actually, Mutavault will be able to kill me with the Lord anyway, because I want blockers. So let's go ahead and get our free damage in. Then if I stop on draw step, or upkeep, sorry, want upkeep, stop on opponent's turn. Actually, it really doesn't matter. I can just do it now. Alright. Return target permanent. Draw a card. Bounce that. Horrible sequencing on my part. I knew what I wanted to do. I just couldn't do it yet. So, there's the Glenalendra. Probably should have cracked the fetch first. Against horrible, horrible sequencing on my part. I apologize for that. So, replays the Mutavault. Here's a Lord. Oh, the Silver Gill revealed the Lord. Alright. I really should Cryptic Command in last turn and then pick it up the Ewit. Alright, land is fine. I don't have another way to get a permanent type in the graveyard. Alright, so Ewit, pick up Cryptic, bounce tap, hold up Frilled Mystic. First of all, let's bounce the Lord. They're going to play it pre-combat to try to get Island Walk. And then I have enough mana for Mystic Snake and Frilled Snake, so nothing should really go awry here. Unless they attack in with just both these two creatures and are holding a counter spell. I want to get the higher power one out. Good attempt, opponent. Now you're probably on... Alright, well I guess this could go poorly if you draw a counterspell. You gotta land. Just make sure... Yep, island is fine. Mystic Snake! Alright, well we would have had that locked up if I had properly sequenced during that turn. Now they have one chump blocker. I'm going to bounce with Jace, grow the Goyfs. Got the GGs from the opponent. Turn target creature. Glyphs are lethal, and that's the game. And when we won, we had a ton of gas in hand, but you do see the flaws of this deck. We had to get to 8 mana before we were able to start multicasting every turn, and our 4 mana counterspells are a little weak versus something along the lines of like Deprive that's just 2 mana. Assuming Modern Horizons ends up giving us the counterspell. The counterspell would be fantastic in this deck. Like, it might even replace some of the Cryptic Commands. Cryptic Command is very powerful, but being 4 mana is quite hard to cast, and it's the reason that we're running Aether Vials, despite the fact that we have 4 Goyfs, 4 Snaps, 4 Ewits, so that's 12 creatures. In the normal build, I know I'm running Mystic Snakes because they're Mystic Snakes, but this is not supposed to be a creature-heavy deck. Sorry, do we have our record up? Guess not. Trying to remember if this is the last game of the series or not. I think we have one more after this. Alright, well, we have a turn 1 Spell Pierce, but we're on the draw. We have a Dismember, we have a Cryptic and a Frilled, but we have 3 lands. This is what our deck wants to do, and that's part of the reason this deck isn't great at the moment. But it's what we signed up for when we queued up for this league, so... And we're getting discarded. Oh no, Land of War. Alright, so we're probably playing against elves then, which means I'm likely dismembering this. Doesn't feel great, but... If they kept a mana light hand, or this at least slows them down to the point that we can start crypticking, that's exactly why we have a Dismember. Confirmed elves. No 2-drop, so good Dismember. They revealed Shaman of the pack, which means that they've got a couple of expensive elves in hand. Kind of a weak Dwynen's Elite. But as long as we hit our land drops, we're safe. Now, ideally, they get a third land. They play Clan Caller. Not Clan Caller. Archdruid. We're going to take the beats for now because I'm expecting a Lord that I can Snapcaster Dismember. I would have loved to have Ambush Vipered that, though. Alright, so we're going to lose some life here, but that's fine. Land! Yes! That is a land. Pre-combat Lord? Pre-combat Lord? Guess not. Alright, so this means Snapcaster. We're going to target the Dismember. We're going to have a Spell Pierce in case they hit a land drop and a Coco. Alright, now do I actually want to Dismember? I have 5 cards in hand. I think I have to. It's either take 4 from Dismember or take 2 and leave a 2/2 on the board. Wow. That's some spice. Land? Alright, so the plan here is Jace Brainstorm into a land so I can... Actually, I have to bounce this. Let's hope that they're off of Coco for one more turn. Yeah, that's fine. 100% fine, opponent. That's all you. Search will let us hit a land. Jace is just gonna bouncy. So they have a ton of 3-drops. It's really leaning me towards Coco. Again, that's fine. Definitely binning Snapcaster. We have nothing we want to recast at the moment, and I need a land. Not a land. Alright, is it worth cashing in Jace here? I think I can still Cryptic pretty safely, or just flash in Frilled Mystic and Chump Block. And no lands. Alright, well... Looks like we're on Cryptic, which means it's going to be Cryptic Draw. We're going to redraw something currently here. I think that means these two guys go back. And this is horrible. So Ewit can't really do anything about the Steel Leaf. Can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less. Oh boy. Is it going to be Cryptic Bounce Draw? What if he has Blossoming Defense? Cryptic's going to get a card into my graveyard. Let's actually see what he attacks. Because I'm going to be on Bounce Draw more than likely. Yep, trying to go for me. Makes sense. Alright, so return target permanent, draw card. Alright. We can put Frilled Mystic into the graveyard to hit my land drop. Transform Search. So I can set up Goyf as a blocker, Ewit, pick up a land, play a land, hold up Spell Pierce for the incoming Coco. That'll give me 2 blockers. Yeah, that's looking like the best line here. The struggle for land... Oh! I don't have the green. I had to do that in the other order. Alright, did I just lose then? So I can't Ewit. I think that means I have to cash out Jace. That also means that my Goyf is going to grow. So bounce that. Suspend Ancestral. Plan for a longer game. Have Spell Pierce for Coco. A lot of powerful cards, but at 4 drops it's quite painful. Old versions of this also ran 21 lands. I bumped it up to 22 just because I didn't feel overly confident with that. Yep, there's a Steel Leaf. I actually would have loved to have filtered with his Kanta there. Alright, so Ewit, pick up a land, have 3 mana available. Still not great. Vial is slow but interesting. So I can Vial, hold up Cryptic. Still just feels terrible though. Alright, I guess we're on tap draw. Do you have Coco? Guess not. Alright. That enters, we lose 5 life. Not great. So, what do we care about here? This looks like Coco / budget elves. Echoing Truth feels pretty decent. Just hit all their mana dorks. It feels like the 4 mana counterspell creatures just aren't great, especially when they're on the 5/4 plan. Just because I actually think that means they're not going to be on anything like Meddling Mage. The 3/2 is going to be better than the 2/2. Pulse of Marasa, I feel like I have to hit my land drops, and gaining a little bit of life here wouldn't be negligible, but I think we still have a pretty strong game plan. We just need to not get stuck at 3 lands. Alright. Living off the strength of this remand and the fact that we get to keep picking it up. Currently down a game that we shouldn't be down against elves. Again, though, kind of continuing the sequence here, there's a lot of creature decks. Opponent's on the mold of 5, and puts a card on bottom. The creature decks are kind of a pain for this deck, because they just come out fast. Most of them have enter the battlefield abilities or cast abilities. Cavern of Souls is going to make our life miserable with counter spells. Like, okay, well I guess that's a little bit better than recycling with Remand, just to recycle with Remand. But Remand is just draw a card against a Cavern of Souls. Yes, we'd love to bin that Jace. And we missed a land drop. So opponent's on a 1 land, but it's a 1 land that can beat us, which is super sad. And sometimes you have to remand just to draw a card. Alright, Goyf is passable. Goyf is something I could consider using. Goyf will at least give us a blocker. Cord for 1. Alright, so opponent has all the mana. Love to bin that. Looking for a land. That's not a land. Alright, go for your 2/3. You should at least hold off a little bit here. Some of my early builds in this deck had Vapor Snag in them. Vapor Snagging the Elvish Mystic on turn 1 would have been fantastic. Or I guess turn 2, since we suspended Vision. There's a Coco. I would have loved to have countered that. They only got a Dwinen's Elite. Oh, if we lose to this, I'm going to be so sad. This is such an awkward draw from Elves. They mulled to 5. That's fine. We have another one. Although we probably won't cast it for a hot minute. Draw 3 cards. Please be a land. Alright, that kind of works. So, I'm going to go fetch here. Basic island is fine. Now the question is, do I want to is Kanta with Vial, or do I just want to Ewit and pick up the Flooded Strand and then discard to hand size? It's sad that that's my decision right now, but it's basically what I'm looking at. Iskanta's going to be a land next turn, so I guess that's Iskanta. The Vial, and I have a giant Goyf, but I'm currently on the table for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And I'm at 15, which means Goyf is on blocking duty. Oh, this is awful. Alright, well, as long as the opponent's committing mana, it means that they're probably not swinging yet, and I need one more turn for Cryptic. Oh, I don't want to bin that. I think I have to bin that, though. Because Search is still going to be a land. Yeah, let's hope we draw another land. Alright, what does another Goyf mean? Because right now I'm currently on Cryptic Command and probably tap... Draw? Tap Bounce also seems fine, but it depends on what opponent's doing. Well, actually, no. Tap Bounce is going to make it so that they can't recast it. So then I'll have a turn to Frilled Misket. So, yeah. Not hitting a land here is super bad. But we're going to discard... Oh, we don't have to discard the hand size yet? That's fine. So when it goes to combat, we tap the team, bounce the Chameleon. That's fine. Tap all creatures, return target permanent. Gonna bounce that dude. Then Goyf is going to get in for 5. We can flash in Snapcaster, recast Cryptic. Then we can... Oh, we only have the one Cryptic. Alright, that's unfortunate. Because now we can't Ewit pick up Cryptic. And again, we don't get another land. Alright, well... We know what the win condition is. Let's find another Cryptic. And worst case situation, V-Click is a redraw. Although... bouncing that would just be as effective as a Cryptic. Alright, well the following turn I can Jace, bounce the Vision. No, they're going to recast Chameleon Colossus. Alright, well we're on Snap Cryptic. That's what we know for now. If they tap down their team to replay Colossus here, we actually might just be flashing Goyf and V-Click. They can just tap the Elvish Archdruid and replay Chameleon. Yep, there's the Colossus. There's Dwinnen's Elite. Alright, so currently 5, 7, 9, 12, 15, 17, 21 damage. V-Click can... Yeah, we're just on Snapcaster. Really wanted that Cryptic command. Tap all creatures, draw a card. Frilled Mystic is not Cryptic Command. Definitely moving up, though. Alright, Spell Pierce is not Cryptic. So right now we can Ewit, pick up Remand. That doesn't do anything. Ewit, pick up Jace. We can bounce the Colossus. We'll have 3 blockers. That will take out the 3 threes, which instead of taking 21, we'd end up taking 9 less. Oh, but now they have more attackers, so that doesn't work. Yeah, let's go ahead and V-click ourselves. That's an Aether Vial. So 7 damage. Looks like it's at least blocking duty. Still no land for turn, though, which means Ewit into Goyf is our biggest blocking. That doesn't have Trample, so Ewit, pick up Forest. And this is when it feels like this deck is what Value Town wanted to be. Alright, well, let's see if we're dead. So Ewit's going to chump block the Chameleon. That has no targets. They already had all the mana in the world. They currently have 9, 14, 16, 18, 21. Likely not attacking, but 23. Yeah, I'm dead. We'll make sure they attack, though. And this is when something like a Wrath of God would just be fantastic. It's so hard for this deck to splash double black or double white, though. Alright, well, that's a free block then. That's a free block. That's block, block. Nope. Block, block, and I'm pretty sure I'm dead. Go on, Moto. Yep, dead by 2. Alright, so currently 2-2 with Eternal Command. And it really seems like what we want to do is add a 3rd color that has a board clear in it, but not have 6 Mystic Snakes. But, I mean, when your dream is run 8 Mystic Snakes, 6 Mystic Snakes was already a concession. This is a turn 2 Goyf. We can do better than that. Turn 2 Remand with a Scry. Well, that actually gives us a clock depending on what we're playing against. Typically around 5s, I feel like I play a lot of Burn. Or maybe some Control. It's so sad that this is the current state of Modern. Alright, did you keep a Path opponent? Do you have Spell Snare, I guess is a better question. Yeah, this is looking like Miracles. This is an additional way to trigger a Miracle if you have black, but I doubt they have black. A lot of blue-white has been running main board rips. Like, that's just been the state of Modern. They might have a single swamp to just fetch out with Field of Ruin. Alright, and the draw step stop means this is a V-click more than likely. Guess not. Also could have meant Surgical. This could be some weird Esper build trying to use Kaya as a finisher. Alright, so what's my game plan here? I can float a mana, I can cryptic command, they'll have probably blue available. Cryptic would just be bounce, colonnade, draw. That feels high enough upside. They did have a black. Alright, return target permanent, draw a card. We're going to bounce the tap land. Now opponent's got to make the decision of snagging the Cryptic with the Nihil Spellbomb, which it looks like they did. Yep, they targeted me. So Goyf is still a 3-4. And opponent's back to 2 mana, which means my Jace is probably sticking at this point. Cast down? Alright, this is looking like it's going to be the Kaya list. But as long as they're tapped out, we'll see if they're running Hero's Downfall or not. And they haven't shown any sign of red, so I'm not afraid of Bolt. Just going to get my Brainstorm value and put back 2 lands. Ooh, that's nasty. Alright, an opponent didn't have another mana. Alright, well we care about 4. I'm going to go ahead and Brainstorm again. I'm going to shuffle away some of these lands that have no business being here. And may as well do it now. Telegraphing my hand a little bit, but it's fine. If opponent had anything, they would have used it during their turn when I was tapped out. And I'll just get my blocker and another attacker on. No need to let them have any fun with that Snapcaster when I've got Mystic Snake. Oh, magic, never change. If they printed 4 mana, search for a basic, and counter target spell, I would probably run it. Yep, there's the Kaya. Alright, Jace. Show me what you can do. Oh, I love all that. I'm probably going to be shuffling away a Snapcaster and an Ewit, seeing as opponents controlling our graveyard. And again, oh wait, I actually care this time. No, I don't care this time. Just going to shuffle now before I forget. Frilled Mystic feels like a perfect Kaya assassin. Yeah, take the graveyard, don't really care. Oh, Flizzard Wizard. Oh my gosh, that is amazing. Alright, so I kind of want to keep one Snapcaster around. I feel like I don't need the remand? I don't know. I'm not going to be shuffling here. I'll draw the remand. Frilled Mystic's going to take out Kaya. So I'm getting the read that the opponent's on Supreme Verdict. This is going to be 2 mana for Search, 4 for Cryptic, or 4 for Mystic Snake. Oh, I didn't make my land drop. I could have played Ancestral. Oh well. But yeah, I'm getting the read from the opponent that this is going to be a Supreme Verdict. Alright. Guess we're on counterbalance the colonnade, and that way that they can't Supreme Verdict. So counter target spell, return target permanent, spell, permanent. And I probably should have kept the remand for this situation, but it's fine. Opponent's going to have another cryptic command here. Or a cast down. Yeah, that's awkward. I don't feel like Kai is very good in this deck, and even if she was, you'd want Rip main board, not Nihil spell bombs. Did they target themselves? Okay, well, that means my glyphs are still online. Yeah, that was probably going to happen. That also should have happened before the Nihil Spellbomb, but alright. Let's see, we have 8 mana. Yeah, remand would have been nice in that exact situation last turn, but it really doesn't matter here. I think I might be on Fate Sealing now. We have a pretty good advantage over the opponent. I can suspend Ancestral, get my card advantage, and just try to keep them off of anything that actually matters. Yeah, you're not getting Snapcaster. I can Ancestral, and then flash in Snapcaster next turn. So first thing that's going to happen is opponent's going to target the remand. I can... So Snapcaster, remand, Snapcaster, have another Snapcaster? That feels horrible. It's probably just going to be Ambush Vipers, unless opponent makes the mistake of actually trying to cast something first. It's also possible opponent tries to Celestial Colonnade. Yep, that's all fine. There's Snappy Boy. Snappy Boy. I'd love another Mystic Snake. And let's start Fate Sealing again. So they have a polluted delta, which means that this isn't going to be very effective. I'm going to go ahead and say no. Hopefully that'll make them crack, but... Yep, there it is. Oh, opponent. Did you not learn from the Mystic Snake? We'll go ahead and take out Kaya, unless you have a path. And Supreme Verdict is still on my radar. Yeah, we can bend remand. It's not good enough. Goif is a fine draw. You're still one turn away from activating Colonnade. I'm kind of okay with them drawing Logic Knot, because we're likely just going to kill them here. Clearly, opponent has no respect for the Mystic Snake. So that actually might have been missequencing on my part. I was supposed to bounce the first Mystic Snake here, so I'd have another one in hand. Or at least wait to do Jace until after combat. Because if they have been holding on to the Supreme Verdict I'm expecting them to have, then that means that they get to just cast it here, and I have nothing. I can follow it up with a Goif, which is going to be powerful, but... Alright, I believe... Yep, we can go ahead and put that in the graveyard. And this time I am going to bounce it. So I know my opponent has Logic Knot, but I'm just going to get my Ewit out. Ewit, pick up Remand. They're going to have to Logic Knot this, which is the logic behind it, is then I have Mystic Snake up. Yeah, opponent just scoops it up. They know it's coming. Okay, so this is control. For control, we have Dispel, we have Pithy Needle. This is going to name Kaya more than likely, just because Kaya can actually get rid of the Pithy Needle, and we only have one. Ravenous Trap is cute. This is where Surgical would be fantastic. We just counter our threat once, then we Surgical it. Ravenous Trap's in here mainly for Dredge and Arc Lycan at this point, since they're both pretty heavy decks in the meta. Glenelendra comes in, can counter a Planeswalker or a Cryptic Command. It comes back with Persist, then we can either bounce it or just cash her in, then we can Ewit, pick her up. This is just multiple counter spells on a body. Pulse of Marasa just doesn't really matter. So Pulse being able to pick up Ewit and picking up Snapcaster Mage makes this basically a 4 for 2, I guess a 5 for 2, instead of a 2 for 1. It's just great in the mirrors, but it's mainly in here for burn. I just want to gain some life. Echoing Truth is cute. It'd probably save our creatures from kill spells. It would also make it so that halves of Cryptic commands get countered, but that also means that if I'm Echoing Truthing my Tarmogoyf, then it's going to pick up all my Tarmogoyfs. So I think we want these cards. As far as cuts, Dismember is meh. This can pick off a Celestial Colonnade, but that doesn't feel good enough. Remands are awful because it's a soft counter. We need to go to the long game. We did see one turn where it mattered, but ended up being bad basically everywhere else. Basically, if I Cryptic and they Cryptic, I want to be able to Remand at 6 mana, but that's so fringe, I don't really feel like I need it. Spell Pierce, again, soft counter, not great, but it can snag something early like a Kaya. Snapcaster, they're trying to hit our graveyard. This actually might be correct to pull out 2 Snapcasters for potentially an Echoing Truth. This can snag a Planeswalker before ultimate, and they're hitting our graveyard super hard. Like, it might even be that. This is kind of an awkward matchup. So we saw that we're not great against the creature decks, and we also get hit really hard from just the strangest strategies. But this is a turn 2 Goyf into... I don't even have mana for Ewit, but I do have V-Click. That seems fine. We're on the draw. Hopefully we'll find another green source. Alright, Cryptic's not a bad one. Alright, get my breeding pool. Then I'm just going to run out Goyf. If he eats a path, I'm fine with that. If he gets spell snared, I'll be sad, but whatever. They're going to have targets for spell snare in our deck. Yeah, so this also feels like poor timing from opponent unless they're trying to stick Kaya here. They're supposed to wait until my draw step, so I can't use that land. I'll have 4 mana up. Which means free dual land, hold up Frilled Mystic, hold up Cryptic, and step V-Click in worst case scenario. Opponent's just F6ing, huh? I want to take a peek. May I, opponent? Put 3 damage on the table and take a look at your hand. Alright, Jace path, snap, snap, snap. Snap is really bad for us, especially because they're probably going to snap here now that we're tapped out. Jace is a finisher that I just need to hold Frilled Mystic up for. They might just path me here, who really cares? Frilled Mystic feels fantastic against Jace, though. We're going to know the timing on that. So just take out a Snapcaster. And then we've got 3 damage on the table that's going to be getting in until they decide to make a play, and we have counter magic. So I'm on board. Alright, and opponent still doesn't want to take any action here. Trying to determine if it's worth pathing. Okay, well there's Snapcaster, so I can Frilled Mystic the Snapcaster. They'll end up having 2 creatures on the table. If they tap out for Jace, I've got Cryptic to bounce it. Yeah, that feels high enough upside. They get to path one of my creatures of choice, but putting more pressure on them seems better when they're a loose combo deck. So if they're going to be mana efficient, they should path here. Then I'm going to float blue. This is kind of just a bluff thing. Occasionally you want to do that. I decided I don't want to do that. You can take my V-Click. We got value out of it. We got rid of one of their Snapcasters. We got a path. We countered the other Snapcaster because they had to commit to it. Yep, there's Jace. If you bounce this, I'll love you forever. If you brainstorm, he's dead. Oh, that's fine. I'm even happy with mana here. So he did put a card to the bottom. Alright, now I am a little behind on clock as far as killing Jace. It's going to be 2 activations before I kill Jace here. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm just going to Echoing Truth it and have up Cryptic Command because we're so far ahead that this Frilled Mystic is going to go the distance. Plussing Jace was almost no value to them because we got a fresh draw anyway, and it did help us in this situation. And then I can hold up Cryptic, I can basically interact with them, and then after I Cryptic, I have Ewit into Cryptic, and I'll have enough mana for it. Opponent's also shown us a lot of Field of Ruins. Kinda greedy for a 3-color deck. Alright, so Cryptic, Frilled Mystic. Yep, so we're going to counter target spell and return target permanent to its owner's hand. We counter that, pick that up. And we just made a 3 for 2. And again, we're just so far ahead that this isn't an issue. Now, if they have a counter spell, it'll be bad, but it looks like they don't. Alright. Green, green 1, Ewit. Pick up Cryptic. And we are blue, green, Valusa. Can you keep up? Because I don't think you can. Alright, that was actually a misplay on my part. I should not have run out the Aether Vial. As much as it lets us cheat on mana, and it's really good for us, at this moment, I think I'd prefer to try to brainstorm it away if I drew Jace. I don't know, though. Like, we'll actually get to the point that we can bounce Ewit and pick up Cryptic and just have it every turn. That's the combo that this deck is built around, and we haven't showcased it yet, so that might be fine. Oh, Snapcaster is fantastic. Cryptic, tap, draw. Alright, Cryptic, counter draw? Or do I want to counter bounce? Yeah, I want to counter bounce. I'm 1 mana away. So I could snap Frilled Mystic. I could, snap Echoing Truth Frilled Mystic and counter, but it is what it is. So you get a tap, or I could just Snapcaster Cryptic, whatever. Alright, opponent, you got 1 turn off of that. Okay, this is probably going to work out fantastically. Yeah. I would love to pick up my Frilled Mystic. If I untap, I have a counterspell, and I have 4 damage on the table. We didn't get our combo, but the thing is that all of our cards give us so much advantage here that, like, opponent has 1 card in hand and we're holding a counterspell. So they need to have a piece of gas, and they also need to draw a piece of gas before this means anything. We're going to get in for 4, since they don't have enough to activate Colonnade, and then we can just flash in an attacker if need be, but one thing getting through is lethal. It's turned off fetch lands. I guess I can activate Creeping Tar Pit a little easier. Alright, and because they do have 2 cards in their control list, I'm holding on to Frilled Mystic. So if they weren't drawing a card, I'd just wait a turn for Aether Vial so that they can't counter Frilled Mystic, but yeah, that locked it up. Alright, so cashed out with Eternal Command, and the matches that we lost, if I'm not mistaken, let's go back to the league. So we got wrecked by Spirits, and this was, I want to say... Oh wait, this was Spirits. No, this is Merfolk. No, Spirits. So that was Spirits and... No! That's not what I wanted! Go back, game, go back! View replay. Alright. Oh, Elves. Yeah. It was both creature strategies, though. We ended up beating Merfolk, but we lost to Spirits and Elves. And that was even a budget Elves list, and they mulliganed to 5. So, what this deck needs... The Search for Contos are fantastic. They'd be better with Wilderness Reclamation, but I don't think that this is a Wilderness Reclamation deck. If you want to play Wilderness Reclamation in a blue-green shell, I played blue-green turns with a super rough, super bad list a little while back, and it did pretty well, and that's what you probably want to do. I'm trying to pull it up. Yeah, blue-green turns. So it was just Growth Spiral, Cryptic Command, Giga Drouse, Time Warp. I ended up running the 3 Wilderness Reclamations because of the power it has with Nexus of Fate, and I only ran 1, and I do believe that's the correct call. But we ended up doing all right with it. It took turns. It's what it was supposed to do. It had a lot of mana. This deck is hopefully about getting out a Snapcaster or a Termagloyf and holding up counter spells. And the Mystic Snakes are cute, and that was my own personal flavor on it. But the Cryptic Command, pick up the 2 modes. Counter, bounce the Ewit, flash in the Ewit off the Aether Vial, pick up the Cryptic Command, and be able to recast it next turn. If you can get an early enough lock that that's what your opponent's doing, you're going to win the game because you are essentially just recasting Cryptic every turn, and it's one of the most powerful cards in Modern. So this deck does some great things. Again, the missing cards in the 2-drop are Iskanta. I forgot to fix the images for the flip card before taking the screenshot. Jace is unbanned. He is a powerhouse. Exactly what this strategy wanted. Aether Vial's lead to creature strategies, though, and 3-drops are at a premium. Vendilion Clique was a 3 of in the 2016 versions of this list because it's a 3/1, it redraws, it helps average out your hand of 4-drops and 3-drops into something better. It blocks pretty profitably, it has evasion, it's a good beater to get some damage in. Goif was in this list, Bolt was in this list. Back then, it was very common to see Bolt Snap Bolt as a pretty common win strategy. It's still very powerful, but these days it's more like Manamorphose, Faithless Looting, Arclight Phoenix. And this strategy is still pretty good. It requires splashing red. Splashing red would have given us Anger of the Gods, and it would have absolutely obliterated elves, but it probably wouldn't have done too much against spirits. We'd potentially be getting Blasphemous Act. I don't think that's worth running. Anger of the Gods also exiles our Snapcasters and Eternal Witnesses, not necessarily what we want to do in the strategy, which is why we had bolts. 1-for-1ing the opponent, picking it back up, or recasting with Snapcaster is basically the best we can look for, but when our opponent's dropping their entire hand pretty early and we can't keep up because we have a couple awkward 4-drops in hand, that is a problem. This deck, though, cashed out, obviously good. It's from 2012, 2016 were the 2 times that was mostly played. It is a little out of meta. Very powerful cards. You're always going to be able to find a home for Cryptic, Ancestral Vision, Aether Vial. This is a little bit of a hybrid, though. Typically, you want Aether Vials for creature strategies, and that goes into one deck. And you want Islands and Jaces and Cryptics for another style of deck, where this is kind of meets in the middle. Most people who are familiar with this deck already have most of the cards for both decks, are very entrenched into Modern, and they've been playing for years, and they're already aware of it. So this might be new for some people. I wouldn't recommend buying in immediately because Goif and Cryptic Command are 2 very different style cards. Teamer has had a couple of renditions where we got like Savage Knuckleblade. We're like, can we play it yet? You can always build a deck. You're always going to be weaker than something else currently meta, though. If this is something that you thought you'd enjoy, I definitely recommend giving it a shot. Maybe Cockatrice or something along those lines to actually go proxy it out, test it out, play it out, because you're buying into 2 random strategies, and if you don't enjoy it, you're going to split your deck in half, decide which direction you want to go, and sell the other pieces, which never feels great. But Eternal Command, it's fun, it's an oldie, it's a goodie, it does things, it counters things, it beats with creatures. Something to block flying would be great. I know Saffron Olive has been running Rake the Trees or something like that in the sideboard for flyers. Spirits has just become very common, and it's a very good deck, and so you need to figure out how to play against it. But I enjoyed this deck, and I even had a couple of horrible misplays, like that one turn where I could have actually Ancestraled and E-Witted, picked up Cryptic, but I mean, powerful cards, powerful effects. But thanks for watching, everyone.